Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Random Thoughts Podcast. It's your boy, Tall the Giant. I've been out for quite a while. Life's been hitting me hard, and I've just been super busy. But I now have some time to go back to the podcast that I really like to do. And I've had a lot of random thoughts over the break, and I want to share some. I just want to share some. So the very first thing I really want to talk about that, I thought about recently was PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One. I think that's a very big debate going on in the gaming community still to this day. I remember Big Bang Theory did a funny episode about Sheldon being so struck on what to buy. He wasn't sure if he should buy PS4 and Xbox One because they both came out the same year and they were both introducing new mechanics and new games are coming out for them that were really good. But personally, over time, I feel like the PS4 has lasted longer than the Xbox One, in terms of good game quality. And I personally had an Xbox 360, which I thought was the best console. And then when the PS4 and Xbox One came out, and I just started seeing the reviews of each console, and I saw that PS4 was a lot better and was doing a lot better, I decided, you know what, I should get a PS4, and thank God I did. I love playing the PS4 exclusive games like Uncharted, God of War, Spider-Man. I mean, you can in other games as well that you can play on Xbox One, but I've grown more accustomed to the controller on the PS4 than the Xbox One. I just feel like it's a lot more simple to use and not as confusing. I just, personally, for me, PS4 is probably just the better console. But Xbox is starting to get better too. Their recent E3 was amazing. They have a lot more indie studios that they've bought, and they're going to have more. What I think of Xbox basically is that they're just for the console. Xbox One is just mainly for shooting games, online co-op shooting games. But now Xbox realized that a lot more people are interested in actual games, linear, straightforward games, open world games, not just shooters. And Xbox is now trying to get into that world as fast as they can, and they're doing a good job. They are doing a good job. I think they had a great press conference during E3 this year. And PS4, the Sony unfortunately did not do a press conference. And there was nothing like new release dates or anything mentioned on their side, which is kind of a shame because there are some great games we are waiting to hear, especially Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. Those two games are very on my list of wanting to buy, and I really want to hear the release dates or more information about the games, but so far it's just been quiet. We did get a trailer for Death Stranding, a very long trailer, and I'm telling you, that game still confuses me. I have no idea what that game is about. Even though, they showed us a lot about, what the plot might be and the game mechanics, I am still very confused. Is it, a horror game or a sci-fi mystery or, maybe an action game at some parts, an adventure game? I don't know. It's throwing everybody in a loop, and it's weird. But, again, Sony didn't really do much, and so it's a little upsetting because I'm a very big Sony fan. I love all the games that they put out, and for them not to do a press conference for E3 was pretty upsetting. And the PS4 is still strong in my opinion. I still think it's a very strong system compared to Xbox One. But that's only personal for me. That's only towards me because I'm not really a big shooter fan. I don't really play Fortnite or Apex Legends that much, or Call of Duty or Battlefield. I'm not really big on shooters. I'm more, linear games, Uncharted, God of War, Spider-Man, just regular games, nothing with so many guns and stuff like that. It's a different world for me. And I suck at shooting. I can't aim for the life of me in shooting games. I one time threw a grenade in a room full of my teammates and I just killed us all, and that was just a sign that I'll never get any better with shooting games. Oh well. But anyway, I think PS4 is the king of all kings when it comes to the Xbox One. But PS5 and maybe Xbox, I think it's Scarlet if I remember. I don't remember that well, but we got new consoles in the midst coming through. It's a shame I just bought my PS4 like maybe a year ago. Yeah, around a year ago, 2 years ago. And now they're coming out with the PS5, and I just feel like, damn, I just got this PS4. I mean, make more games for it. I don't want to buy a new console now. It's like the Switch, I feel like you can buy the Nintendo Switch, and then boom, they got the Switch Lite coming out. It's the same game, it's the same console basically, but I just feel like, who knows, 2 years from now, the Switch is going to be replaced with a new console, and that just sucks. I think consoles need to last longer than just 4 years. They should last like 8 years. And then when you introduce a brand new console, then holy crap, it should like totally have like amazing things added to the new console than the previous console. But you gave it many years for it to grow instead of just like an Apple product where they just release a new iPhone every year with like updating the camera instead of like really updating the whole phone itself with so many mechanics. It's just money. That's just how the world works. But again, very excited for what the future comes, and hopefully the PS5 might be a good system, and I can't wait for God of War 2 and Spider-Man 2, of course, and Last of Us 2. So let's hope Sony kicks it into high gear. Maybe they'll do a press conference next year at E3, or maybe like a Nintendo Direct, Days of Play, whatever they're doing for next E3. So let's hope on that. Now, I went to Dunkin Donuts recently, and I just find their tagline very funny. America runs on Dunkin'. I just find that to be very false information. I went to California for a few months for school, and there was really no Dunkin Donuts anywhere. And to be honest, like, to tell the truth, there's really no Dunkin Donuts there aren't as many Dunkin Donuts in the West Coast as I presumed there to be, which is a little upsetting because, growing up in the East Coast, Dunkin Donuts is like everywhere for me, and I grew up with it. It's like, like second nature to just go there in the morning to get like a coffee and a bagel or a donut, whatever. But in California, the West Coast, I don't even know like what specific store to go to get my breakfast needs if I'm in a rush. It's a little upsetting. You got to go to like these mom and pop bagel shops just to get like a bagel with cream cheese, or like a mom and pop coffee shop or Jelly Donuts or Krispy Kreme. But Krispy Kreme and Jelly Donuts just sell donuts and coffee. They don't sell muffins and bagels and stuff like that like Dunkin' does. And I think it's funny because, like, personally, I don't drink coffee that much. And when I go to Dunkin' Donuts, I just see people around me just getting coffee all the time. I wonder how, like, what's the percentage every day of somebody ordering a sandwich, like a sausage, egg, and cheese, or bacon, egg, and cheese from Dunkin' Donuts compared to the coffee. Like, what's the ratio? I bet it's like 1 out of 20. I mean, Dunkin' Donuts, again, they changed their name. They changed their company name to Dunkin' because people are more interested in the coffee game now. Because now that Starbucks is just like taking the market with coffee, Dunkin' Donuts is losing stock, and they want to get up there with Starbucks. So now they're focusing more on their coffee. And again, there's that Dunkin's versus Starbucks, which I can't really give you an answer because I don't drink coffee that much, and I don't even know. I don't think I ever got a coffee at Starbucks before. Maybe one time at Dunkin'. I don't remember. But, I mean, we're talking food quality. I feel like, Dunkin's cheaper, but the food is a lot, not as good for you. But Starbucks is more expensive, but the food is, like, all right. But I don't know. I'm more for Dunkin's food than Starbucks. But it's a shame because I like the donut part than Dunkin'. I don't know. I like it that it's called Dunkin' Donuts. think it's catchy. I think it's a nice name. I don't like that they just call it Dunkin'. I don't know. But, again, I noticed they're nowhere in the West Coast. I don't know why they're called America Runs on Dunkin' if they're, like, not really in all of America all around. I don't know. Maybe it's because Starbucks, like, totally took over the game in the West Coast that Dunkin' has nowhere to spread. So that's the reason why Dunkin's more around the East Coast than the West Coast, because maybe they started there before Starbucks came to the East Coast. I don't know. All these theories I need to look up. I mean, I'm just spouting. I have no idea. But it could be possible. America runs on Dunkin'? I don't know. Maybe East Coast runs on Dunkin'. That's the way I see it, and that's the way it is. Now, I think the best candy is not Hershey. It's not Kit Kat, although Kit Kat can be good at some points. You know, like sometimes I'll have a day where I'm just like, damn, I can go for a Kit Kat bar. But again, not getting sidetracked. Not Kit Kat, not even Snickers itself. And I know, holy crap, Snickers not up there. I know. I think the best candy by far is Twix. I was recently eating a Twix bar, and I just thought, like, wow, this is probably like the best combination of like food. I don't know what to say, but like you got cracker, you got like a nice like graham cracker with caramel and chocolate, and it tastes so good together. It's heaven. But it's funny because maybe next year my favorite candy will be Reese's. I don't really stick with one candy throughout my life. I have phases. There will be a phase where I'm really big into Twix. And then there will be a phase where I'm really big on the Snickers. And then there will be a phase where I'm big onto Reese's Cups. I remember, holy crap, when I, in the fall of 2018, I was just really big into Reese's. And that was just basically like, my go-to candy. And then when in the spring this year, it was just Twix. Twix was just, ugh. So as of now, just Twix is by far my favorite candy, and I think it's the best candy. At least when it comes to like chocolate candy, if we're talking like, gummies or sweet and sour, like I think Sweet Tarts just are the best of all, in my opinion. You guys can all have different. There's so many candies. There are so many candies out there. I don't know how you can like pick like which is the best one. Like half of them taste the same. Half of them are bad for you. Most of them are bad for you. Not even half. I mean, it's just sugar. But like, Halloween, when as a kid, getting those candies was like the best highlight of Halloween. I didn't care for the costume. All I wanted was candy. But I hated working for it. I hated going up door to door just to get candy, and then I get like one bite size of Snickers or, that little pack of M&Ms, and I'm like, fucking thanks a lot, like that's nothing. How can I grow into a big boy with just like, one packet of M&Ms, a small packet? It's not going to help me. It sucks. But then, once I started getting my own money, I started buying my own candy. And then I got fat, and then I lost the weight, and so I'm not going down that loophole again. But yeah, Halloween, man, that's a great holiday for candy. I just feel like, there isn't really much that people do for Halloween anymore. I just feel like now with, like, cell phones and stuff, people are just getting, like, notifications on, like, where the big parties are at and stuff, and I see less kids coming out to trick-or-treat every year, and it's sad because growing up, when I was a kid, before, like, iPhones and before, like, the internet really took, like, steam, or before the internet really started to stream, a lot, Halloween was just the biggest holiday for kids. There were kids everywhere in my neighborhood just trick-or-treating. It was crazy. It was just packed with kids on the streets, parents, neighbors standing outside their porch giving off candy. It was crazy. And now, Halloween, everybody's just inside their house with their doors closed. Nothing's going on. It's weird. It's just weird to see how, like, Halloween, what a great holiday, you know, when I was a kid, it's just, like, as an adult, it looks like it's dead. And I don't know if times are just not doing well for Halloween. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just more dangerous for kids to go out now because of all these kidnappings and stuff you hear on the news. I don't know. We live in a very different time. Very different time than, like, the early 2000s, mid 2000s. It's a shame, but you know, that's how the dice roll. I don't know. But again, Twix, best candy ever. If you want to comment down what's your favorite candy, I totally can discuss that. I can totally comment on, like, all different types of candies. God, I've had, like, several different types. You know what's a really good candy? Really good chocolate candy that not a lot of people know about, and they're really hard to find. But they're called Turtles. And they have, like, walnuts, caramel chocolate. It's really good, actually. I totally recommend, if you're interested, like, in finding new types of candies to try, definitely try Turtles. I think they're an amazing brand, and it's very sad that, like, they're not well known. But then again, maybe not, because then everybody would be buying them, and then there wouldn't be, like, enough, you know, maybe to sell. I don't know. But definitely try Turtles because they're really good. But then again, Twix is better. So that's my opinion on the best candy so far. Now, I recently went to a shooting range. Not recently, it was like maybe a few months ago, but I started thinking back to that time because I was watching an action movie. Don't remember the action movie's name or whatever, don't ask me. But I found it funny that, like, it looked so easy to be in a gunfight. And the good guy was always, you know, getting hits. You know, he was always killing his enemies and stuff easily. The bad guys easily. But in reality, shooting a gun is very difficult. I remember I shot with a 9mm in the beginning, and then a 35mm, and it was hard in the beginning. I mean, it was my very first time shooting a gun, you know, and there's recoil, of course, but it's not that bad. You know, you can withstand the recoil. But just aiming at, like, a target, we had that me and my friend and I, we had that human target. And, you know, then we, you know, put it out in the field so we can aim and shoot it. And we put it a little bit farther away, maybe sometimes closer. But we put it, like, right in the middle. And we started shooting it, you know, taking turns. And I was missing. Like, I wasn't even, like, hitting the silhouette. I was just hitting, like, the sides of the paper. And it sucked because, like, it looked like I was aiming at the silhouetted man. But I just wasn't hitting the mark. And I'm not sure if it's because the recoil sometimes maybe makes your gun, you know, flinch up, left, right, whatever, and that's where the bullet will move, or that's where the bullet will traject, instead of where you're aiming. Like, you really need to hold your gun tight so it doesn't, like, move so you can hit your target. So I just think it's, you know, kind of funny that in these movies, these action movies, that, like John Wick, for example, they can just shoot a gun so easily, you know, hitting the targets, hitting the bad guys. But in reality, like, shooting a gun isn't that easy unless you have a lot of practice, of course. I guess, yeah, in these action movies, these guys have had a lot of practice. But, you know, when you're watching a comedy movie, like a Seth Rogen movie, and then there's suddenly a shootout, and, like, Seth Rogen is, like, amazing using a gun, even though it's, like, his first time, I find that very hard to believe. I mean, again, it's a comedy movie, so, you know, it's really just a joke. But I don't know. It's not easy. It's not easy shooting a gun. It's very difficult. And props to people that, you know, train to shoot guns. Like I mean, you really need to have good accuracy, and if like you build up that accuracy, that's pretty impressive. Then you can go like deer hunting and stuff, and like I don't know, you can be a good huntsman or a good killer for the CIA, whatever you want. I don't know. I always thought guns were easy to use. You just get a gun, shoot it, and then mission accomplished. But like, there's a lot more to a gun than meets the eye, especially loading in the bullets. That's pretty hard. My friend and I, we loaned out a rifle, and just putting the bullets inside the rifle itself is very difficult. I don't know how people can put in bullets into a gun so fast. Again, maybe training and whatnot, but it's so difficult, at least for me in the beginning, to put in bullets into a gun. It's just, unless it's like a revolver, which is pretty, you just pull it out, and it's like a 6-hole wheel, and then you just put a bullet in each hole. But like compared to a rifle, where you got to take out the stock, and then you got to put in the bullets in the stock, and that just sucks. I don't know. So again, I feel like guns are very hard to aim, and you need to get a lot of practice in aiming. But fuck me, right? I don't know. Again, I'm not a guy who typically likes guns. I mean, I do believe in the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, but I do also believe that guns are very bad right now, at least right now, and there could be ways to fix it, but don't look at me because I'm not the man who knows how to fix it specifically. I think it's very hard when it comes to gun control. Because, you can put a ban on guns, but guns can still come to people's hands illegally. So, and then the NRA is a piece, they're very stubborn when it comes to, banning guns and stuff, or like putting, limits on how to buy a gun. It's a crazy world we're living in. So, but again, guns are hard to aim, at least for me. I need more practice, but probably won't do it. So, hey, at least I shot a gun for the first time just knowing how it feels. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to go to the very last segment. This podcast has been going on for quite a while, so I want to end it off with something. I don't feel like I'm the only one at all. I don't feel like I'm the only one, but I don't know. I've never been to Disney. I had to say it. I've never been to Disneyland, Disney World. I've been to a Disney store once, but that was it. But again, never been to a Disney amusement park. It's expensive. It's very expensive to just go into the park, for like a day. And then, you go wait in line for rides, and it takes like an hour to just get on Space Mountain or something, and that sucks. And then if you want to buy the Fast Pass, of course, they'll have increased prices on that, and that just blows. And I mean, Disney World looks so fun. Oh, actually, Disneyland. I mean, both of them. They both look really like a really fun time. And I would love to go, but I don't want to go by myself also. I just feel like if you go by yourself to these amusement parks, it won't be as fun. You're not, I mean, yeah, you'll be able to go wherever you want. Nobody's going to be, dragging you, oh, let's go on this ride, let's go on that ride. You'll have the liberty to do whatever you want. Isn't that boring? Don't you want to go with like friends or families, people like, that are close to you instead of just by yourself? I mean, that's also one of the biggest reasons I don't go to Disney, is because, like, personally, I don't have friends that can really go and afford it. Even I can't afford it right now to just buy a plane ticket, get a hotel at Disneyland, and then go to Disney, travel around Disneyland for 2 days. It's a lot of money. You need money to have fun, honestly. I don't have any close friends that can afford it. I don't have any family members that can afford it. It's a lot of money just to go to the amusement park, especially Disney. But the goal for me is to eventually, if I have a family, if I start a family, I would love to go to Disney World, Disneyland, whatever, with my family. Because I just feel like it'd be so, as a kid, like if you had a kid and you brought them to those parks, they would love it. They would just die of excitement. It must be so fun. And now that I'm grown up and I'm more into like horror movies and stuff like that, I'm not really into like all these Disney movies anymore. I mean, superhero Star Wars, that's fine with me, but like I'm not. I mean, I used to watch Aladdin as a kid and those Disney animated films, but I never, now, I'm not really big into them. Although if it's Pixar, that's fine. That is fine with me. But I just feel like, you need to go to Disneyland, Disney World when you're a kid, and then, because, like, you'll remember a lot, and it'll be such a great time. Because you're a kid, you don't really know what's going on except just having fun. You're not paying $1,000 for just 2 days at Disneyland. You're just along for the ride. And that must be, like, a really fun, like, feeling. So, again, that's the goal for me. Try to go to Disneyland, Disney World at least maybe a few times before I die or whatever. But, and especially with like friends, family, or even my own family at some point. Like the family I might start. Who knows? Again, 22-year-old guy here, just speculating. Who knows what the future has in stock for us? I don't know, but I do know this. The podcast is finishing up right now, and I want to thank you guys for taking a listen. I know it was very long, but I just have been away for a while, and I really want to start this podcast because or continue this podcast because I really want to like do something more than just, what I'm doing now. I really want to just do more extra things in my life. If that makes any sense. Hobbies. Everybody should have a hobby. So, and I feel like, just starting a podcast of your own and you can listen back to it, when you get older, you realize, wow, it sounds really stupid, but like at least I did it. I think that's like a great feeling. So, if you like listening to my podcast, that's awesome, and I love that. I think it's great to have people to listen to other people, like what's on their minds and stuff. And you know what? I love to hear what's on your mind. If you want to comment anything down below, maybe you disagree with what I said about, my favorite candy, or you have like thoughts about Disneyland, whatever, or the PS4 sucks compared to the Xbox One. I don't know. Leave comments down below. I would love to get into like a discussion or something. Well, I want to sign off right now. So thank you again for listening to the Random Thoughts podcast. And you know what? I will be back with more episodes coming soon. Thank you again for not saying anything over this break. I know we just started, so you're not really going to, but it means a lot. So we'll be back with another episode of Random Thoughts coming your way soon. I'm Tall the Giant, signing off. Have a good one, guys.